So who's to blame for President Trump? Is it third-party voters? No. They wouldn't have voted for Hillary nor Donald Trump anyway. Is it Gary Johnson supporters and Jill Stein supporters? They usually vote for the same people just about every 4 years. And Gary Johnson was a Republican governor of New Mexico before he became a libertarian, I presume. Let's get to whose problem this is. Hillary Clinton was not going to win on Democratic votes alone. You should have known that. Democrats can only vote in the Democratic primary in New York, Pennsylvania, maybe Maryland. A lot of states in the Northeast, or at least quite a few, I believe. Some of them have open primaries, like Vermont, and I believe New Hampshire does. Closed primaries. A lot of states have closed primaries. In the West, you get into open primary territory. But let's answer that question. Who is to blame for Secretary Clinton's loss? Secretary Clinton, DNC, media, Democrat, establishment, elite. Those are the four people. Media. Let me get to media first. The media gave Donald Trump billions and billions of dollars in free advertising. And now that we have President Trump, now they're going to be worried about journalistic integrity. You're so rich. You created the Frankenstein, and now that it's about to come after you with a fork and a knife, you want to be scared. Number two, the DNC. Debbie Wasserman Schultz is the best Republican operative mole that we've ever had, presiding over historic losses in the governorships, in the House, in the state legislatures, and a lot of local bodies that probably weren't going to go Democrat anyway. But the Democratic Party has written off the South and a lot of the Midwest because we haven't won there in a long time. Probably some of them even go back to 1964 or Jimmy Carter when they last went blue. Hillary Clinton herself, she was nominated. She was the one that everybody wanted to coronate, and they thought that the election and primary fight was a formality. See how well that worked out for you. Let me go back to the DNC. The DNC was so hell-bent on getting her the nod that they didn't care about winning the map. They thought that the Bernie Sanders supporters, who they derided and said were idiots living in their parents' basement who were smarting over the economy, which, okay, smarting over the economy part might be right. But how in the world do you get from that to people who funded the Bernie Sanders campaign for months and months and months? Some of them donating multiple times in order to get Bernie to the finish line. The DNC also rigged the primaries, the debate schedule. They put the debates behind football games and just all of that. And they nominated the weaker candidate. Boom, number three. She was smug and arrogant about winning. She thought that she had it in the bag, and so did the DNC, and so did I, because I thought that people would actually say, well, she's better than Trump. But this is the kicker here. And I kept saying this. Better than Trump is not going to get her the millennial vote. That was the biggest part. And baby boomers, you have no room to talk because you elected Ronald Reagan and George W. Bush. Don't give me that hooey. And there was a fourth reason there. Let me see. What was the fourth reason? I forget. But all I know is the DNC, Hillary. Anyway, I digress because it's off the cuff. The Democrats did this to themselves by refusing to listen to progressives. The polling, they ignored the polling. Now, polling is not certain. The only polling that's certain is the ones that close on election day. The problem is, the DNC was so hell-bent on nominating their candidate, their queen, that as soon as she was knocked off her throne, people couldn't believe it. Oh yeah, let me talk about the third-party voter situation too. Another reason is they knocked third-party voters, as if doing that was going to get them in their camp. It wasn't going to happen. I hate how candidates are, or I hate how people threaten third-party candidates with, hey, I don't want this other guy to win, so you need to vote my way, or because if you vote third party, you're going to be voting against my friend. That doesn't appeal to a third-party voter who's been probably voting third party for a long time. It is because the two-party system is so broken, so inherently terrible, that there are very few options other than it. And that's why they vote third party. Because the two-party system has failed the working class. The Republicans have obviously failed the working class, but the Democrats are right behind the Republicans. They're just only more moderate about it. But the problem is, it was a bit of a referendum on the establishment this time. And Bernie Sanders would definitely have mopped the floor with Donald Trump, because he's channeling his anger at the system in a way that will help dismantle that system. Whereas Trump goes on blaming immigrants, gays, and other people that are, quote, undesirable. He should look at his wife and her modeling career as one of those things that were undesirable. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. I'll talk to you later. Thanks for joining me.